Hey guys, the base plays here, and today I'm going to show you a deck I'm really excited about. It's Aggro Spiders. With this deck currently, we're I think 4 or 5-0 against Ash Sed, which is one of the most pop decks in the game. Really surprising seeing Aggro Spiders do this good since the Bilgewater expansion. It seems that Fade Make It Rain have been really good against Spiders, and I just randomly tried them and didn't think they'd be doing this good, but we won many sets. I'm on a huge win streaks and Masters with this deck, and so far been amazing. And a bit of backstory about my Aggro Spider playing is that I think I played Aggro Spider more than else in this game. It's my favorite deck of all time, this game, or one of my favorites, but probably my favorite of all time. In the beta, the open beta, I played this deck like 6 hours a day, like all the time. Like this is such a fun deck to me, and I've always been a huge fan of it. So I'm really happy to see it randomly doing good in this meta. The lack of tech against aggro, because there's not really aggro decks right now, probably helps it out a little bit, but let's go in the deck real quick, how it plays, what the cards are for, stuff like that. But I'm really excited to show you guys this deck, so let's get into it. First card, Crawling Station. This card is big in this deck. Back in the day, like people wouldn't play some of this, play Hapless or something, but I could not see this deck being played. I'd call it 3 Crawling Station. This card is so good. It's exactly the deck would want. It gives you two spiders for 1 mana, but just giving you 2 spiders in general is amazing. Helps you refuel. There's so many times with this deck where like if you don't have Crawling Sensation, they'll clear like your spiders and you'll run out of steam. But this card lets you refuel your whole board, lets you level up Elise extremely fast. Like this is the card that lets you level up Elise more than any other card. It's 2 spiders for 1 card again. It sounds I'm just reiterating a very clear effect that the card does, but it's very important that this gives you actually one. See, the thing about spiders in this deck is that they're not just 1/1s in this deck. Spiders are they're more than just what meets the eye. Because you can do like the Brothers Bond, and you can buff them with Skitter, buff them with the Host, and they help up Elise. So this card, I could not see you not running this card. You can use a Glimpse, like it lets you refill so much. But let's go into 1-drops. Pretty straightforward. 3 Legion Saboteur, 3 Precious Pet. Oh, one more thing I'll mention about this actually. And if you miss your 1-drop, you get the spell mana, and this helps you be good with hands that you missed the 1-drop on, because you can just make up for the missed mana with your spell mana you got using Crawling Sensation. So 3 Legion Saboteur, 3 Precious Pet. Pretty straightforward 1-drops. This one deals 1 damage Nexus when it attacks. This one being a spider and has Fearsome, which is, as you'll see, Fearsome and spiders are both very key to this spider aggro deck. Pretty straightforward, but amazing. Helps level Elise, gets all the buff from the spider cards. Pretty straightforward. And here we have a 3/2 Fearsome Spider. Pretty straightforward, used for its keywords and the spider archetype it has. If they don't have, I think it can block a Fearsome unit on turn 2. It gets to do 3 damage directly, which is really good damage for an aggro deck, and helps up Elise, gets the buff from the Host. We'll get into the spider stuff later, or more so the buffs they get and why they're not just spiders, like why these cards like Pet, Horror, and the spiders you get Crawling Station are more than just, the cards at face value because of the buffs. But now we have Brothers Bond. So this card is huge. I think one big part of this card that is kind of crazy is that the buffs are permanent with this card. 2 mana gives 2 allies +2/+0, but it's not for the end of the round. A lot of cards like Alex of the Wrath, still a good card, and like all kinds of other buffs. Like a lot of buffs in this game are just for the end of the round, like Fear the North and stuff. This is like a permanent buff. So if you have a bunch of spiders, like a bunch of 1/1s, right? Or weaker units, whatever, spiders, the Release and House Spider and stuff like that. And you say you have four units because you got extra spider off Elise and House Spider, and they only have 2 blockers. If you attack with everything, you can use the Brothers Bond on the ones that go directly and deal 4 damage to the Nexus. That's as much damage as a Decimate, but it also gives a buff to spiders that you get to keep. So you get buffed units that you get to keep the buff, and it does 4 free damage. I mean, that's not free, but it costs 2, but you know what I mean. It's amazing. Or you can spread it out, where it's like, okay, let's say that you're attacking with 4 units, and they block 2, but one of their blockers actually is going to kill, let's say, like the spider, but it won't trade because it's too weak. Like they have a 3/3 blocker, and you're just going to lose your spider. You can use you can buff one of the ones to make the trade, so they lose their field, and then one of them goes directly, so you do 2 damage plus get a trade. I do that a lot because it lets you get the field control, so you get to like clear a unit and do more damage, and you keep the buff. So it's pretty cool. Very good card in this deck. Next we have Elise. Focal point of the deck, amazing. But yeah, attack, summon a Spiderling, that's big. She's 2/3 Fearsome. Honestly, debatably the best 2-up in the game, or one of them. I know that people used to consider her the best 2-up in the game in the original expansion. A lot of people did. She gives you a Spiderling. Usually things can't trade with her. There's really not really many cards in the game that can even trade with her evenly. Like even if they Thermogenic Beam her, you're still using 2 mana and they use 3 mana. So Very good. When she levels up, this is where the big damage comes in. Other spider allies have Challenger and Fearsome. So basically, you just attack with your whole field, and they can't block because they have Fearsome, and you just do like 10 plus damage. And if they do have, let's say you have 6 spiders, which is frequently, honestly, 5, 6 spiders. Let's just say 6. This does happen all the time. I level up Elise, and they have like 4 units or like 5. And let's say 2 of them can block Fearsome units. You just use the 1/1 spiders to hook those away, so they can't block your like big damage, and then you get in with your Fearsome units with the Elise does 4 damage, Horror does 3 damage, Skitter does 3 damage. So you're basically pushing like 10 damage. All you have to do is just use the challengers from the Spiderling, because they have Challenger, because all their spider allies have Challenger leveled up. Take away the ones that can actually block, and you get all this kind of big direct damage. And her champ spells are also more calling sensations, which if you draw double Elise, it's super easy to like level up Elise. Again, focal point of deck, very, very strong. Huge swings. You'll see. You guys will see. 3 Glimpse Beyond, just to refuel. You can dodge lifesteal things, like if you attack and they have like Radiant Guardian, or if you block Radiant Guardian, you can use Glimpse Beyond to get rid of the card that was going to have combat with it, but put a placeholder there, which is what happens when you remove a card from combat before the combat happens. So you get to dodge lifesteal, refuel draw 2. If just anytime they have like a removal spell, let's say they're going to use Vile Feast or Grasp of the Undying, you can use Glimpse to not only draw 2 cards to refuel your hand, which is big because you don't have too many ways to refuel besides like this and like Calling Station to some extent, but it also dodges Vile Feast. It negates the effect. So like not only if you do some Vile Feast, which is common because it's very good in spiders, and Vile Feast is played in most decks, not only does it stop them from healing the 1, they also don't get the spider off Spiderling for Vile Feast. This is one of many instances. Again, Grasp and Dying. They try and drain 3, which is big, so they kill one of your units and they heal 3 life. But if you use Glimpse Beyond, they actually heal nothing, and you draw 2. Very good. Even in general, like it's just simple things. Like you can easily just like get a 1/1 spider, glimpse it, and then like refuel the crawling or whatever. It's pretty low committal, especially if you have this with like low cards in hand and you have 6 mana. You can just glimpse a spider and draw into like crowd favorites or real cards. So yeah, pretty good. All right, House Spider. I'm summoning from a Spiderling. Pretty straightforward. One of the other best 2-drops, I think, lets you get more spiders to help level up Elise. The more spiders you have, the more like get buffed up Arachnoid Host and Skitter, and helps crowd favorite get a bigger buff. So pretty straightforward, just spiraling some of the spider. Also just very good this format for blockers. So next we have Frenzied Skitter. This card's pretty crazy. This used to be a 3/3 before they nerfed it, but still amazing. I'm summoning, give other spider allies +1/+0 and enemies -1/-0. So this is big for many reasons. So one, defense against aggro decks, you make them all -1 and it makes their attack a lot weaker. Like same against elusives, this lowers the damage output so much. But one of the big things is that let's say you're gonna make a big push, right? Let's say you have like a horror Skitter. But let's just actually take it to an extreme. Let's say you have a level Elise, right? And all your allies have Fearsome. All your allies spiders have Fearsome, right? And they have a bunch of 3-attack units. If you use the Skitterer, then it lowers all of them to 2. So they no longer can block the Fearsome units. And now they're going to take so much damage. Like, so much damage. So putting this card putting things under range to block Fearsomes is pretty huge. And on top of that, it buffs all your spiders +1/+0. And again, as I said, it's like frequently will have 6 spiders attacking. So it pushes extreme damages. So it's good defensive, again, to stop their attack from being strong. It makes them so they trade poorly. Let's say a bunch of spiders and they're trying to make a huge swing this turn. It's a big turn for them. They need the momentum they get from this combat on their attack. And you have a bunch of spiders, like, 2/2 here, 1/1 here, and you play Skitter. Not only do all of their guys lose 1 attack, but all your spiders gain 1 attack. So it makes all the trades they would have had extremely awkward. Maybe like they could have normally attacked over our field without even getting a single trade, but now since theirs are lower and ours are higher, we could actually just trade their whole field. And we're trading these 1/1 spiders that were like free a lot of time, like crawling and house spider and stuff like that again, for like real cards they had that were maybe even like 2 defense creatures or 3 defense creatures, and it'll help you gain free card advantage. So next we have crowd favorite. When I'm summoned, grant me +1/+1 for each other ally you have. Used to, again, about nerf, but it used to be a 2/2. Doesn't matter. You again regularly have really wide boards with all the free spiders like Station, stuff like that. So you want to place when you have either 5 units or 4 units at least. It would become a 6/5 or a 7/6, which is insane. Like a 5/5 or a 6/5 with Overwhelm on turn 4 is a lot of damage. And even just the stats are hard to deal with. Like 5 health, it's huge. Usually people have to block them and not even trade with them. You know, like maybe even 2 attacks in. 7/6, I mean, 7/6 on 4 is amazing. So this goes huge damage, and it really works well with the spiders, being able to put out the many units really fast. Arachnoid Host, this card has been overperforming. Really happy with it. I used to run it back in the day. When I'm summoning, grant all their spider allies +2/+0. This is big. This is big. This makes all your Constellation spiders 3 attack units, so they're 3/1, so they can trade really well. And on top of that, it puts out extreme damage. With Elise, if you have this Elise leveled up and you have the fearsomes, and then all your fearsome units just get +2/+0, like this can make already strong spiders, the 3/2s go to 5 attack. You can make the weak ones go to 3 attack. And then even if like they have blockers for some of the fearsome units, if you have a level up Elise, you're now having spiders that have 3 attacks. So you can like use them as, let's say you buff a bunch of spiders, right? Let's say this is like 4 attack now. Yeah, this is 3 attack now. And if you have level Elise, which Pokemon the decks, that's pretty big to get it. Like Elise is so good in this deck. All other spiders have Challenger and Fearsome. So let's say that they can block a lot of things that are Fearsome. You can now challenge them, and you can use your spiders that have now 3 attack to kill their things with 3 defense, which is like you're just using these free 1/1 spiders you had, but now they're not just 1/1 spiders anymore. They're trading for real cards. They're trading these free 1/1s for like things with 3 health, and it's very strong. Fits the curve well. Turn 5. We don't have any other turn 5s. Very good. All right, 3 Darius. Key to the deck. Absolute key. Absolute key. See the enemy Nexus has 10 house health, levels up. So this deck easily gets people to 10 health, like turn 4 or 3. Like it puts out a lot of damage. By the time you turn 6, they're gonna be below 10 health, and then this is basically just a 10/6 overwhelm. And it's so easy to finish the game with this card. Like you keep the pressure on the whole time up until 6. They're ideally crowd favorite and the host, and you just play Darius. This will pretty much again frequently push for like 5+ damage, and it's hard to kill it. They just buffed it. They gave it one more defense or 1 more health. We take those. It helps. It makes the trade even better against certain things. But yeah, the overwhelm is extremely easy to get. Again, if you do develop Elise, and this, that'd be the dream. But you can hook away things and just easily push 10. There's so many times where again, you're just an aggro deck. You put the pressure on. They're trying to recover, trying to not die. They're starting to stabilize maybe against you. You just play Darius and you end the game. This game's a bomb. This deck's a bomb. There's no other card that has the damage output like this card in this deck. This card is just insane damage output, and I could never see it being replaced. All right, one Captain Farron. This is a card that's like well, first off, for 8, it's already an 8/8 overwhelm, so it can do chip damage just by attacking. Not everything's been able to deal with this unless they have like frostbite or stuns. But big thing is that he gives you 12 damage in hand. He gives you 3 decimates, so he gives you 12 damage in hand. So all you do have to do is get them to 12, and then as long as you're all Farron at some point later, you have a win condition in your deck. This is big because a lot of times, let's say you have the strong again pressure, very easy to get to 12. Like you'll pretty much always, for the most part, get people to 12 like really easily, like the beginning. But then they stabilize, right? Let's say they killed your spiders, you're running low on steam, stuff like that. As long as you have Farron in your deck, you can still win. It doesn't even matter. Like you can literally attack them on get them to 12 on 4. Then the rest of the game, you're not able to get field control, and you don't have to do any damage, but you win anyway because you just got them to 12 on 4, and then next 2 turns they're stabilizing, but you play Farron, and then you win anyway, all because they're at 12. Pretty crazy. And you get it off Harrowing. Doesn't happen that much, but let's get to the last card. It's Harrowing. So this card's interesting. I've tried different stuff in this deck, like Elixir of Wrath for push damage, because Elixir of Wrath does 3 damage for 1 mana. It's really easy to get. You're attacking with the 4 units or whatever super easily, and they only have 2 blockers, so it's just 3 free damage for 1. Really good. I'm not really sure which one's better, but the Harrowing's a bit different. Gives you some late game. It's pretty strong, especially if you level up the Elise. Insane, because when everything dies, you just get a bunch of spiders back. The issue with this card, it's very good because again, it lets you get reborn 6 things and attack, and they're usually low at this point. You can use it on 6. You can use it on 7. If you have the bank spell mana, so you can use that as early as 6. But it is kind of awkward because this is a 2/1 engrave, so it has less priority over House Spider. And when this is summoned, it gets a Spiderling kind of messes up some things. This when I'm summoned effect, but since it's one of the strongest units in the deck, when it reborns, it usually comes out first, and you miss your your spider buffs. But overall, still insanely good. You're reborning 6 cards. You're going wide. They can't block everything. Like, this is an easy finisher. Like, can be an auto win a lot of time. It's very, very good with Darius. If you get to attack with Darius and do some chip damage and they kill him, you use Reborn of Darius plus 4 or 5 other attackers. Let's just say 5. That usually is. You're gonna win. Like, you Reborn a 10-6 with Overwhelm plus 5 other attackers. Like, they're dead that turn. That's just what it is. That's why you run Harrowing. This is the one-on summon effect, so he'll always be, like, since usually Harrowing's pretty much always going to be at reborning 6 units. He's going to, if he gets reborned, which is most of the time, he'll be a 7-6 with Overwhelm. So he'll be getting like a 10-6 Overwhelm, a 7-6 Overwhelm. Something big as this is when I'm summoned. So this is going to get you like really sure, like this, when you use the Harrowing, you get a 10-6 Overwhelm, you get a 7-6 Overwhelm. This lowers all their guys' attacks. It raises all your spiders, depending on what's happening. Something cool with Host also is, like, let's say you're in a weird scramble and, like, the stuff cards like Skitter also, and, like, crowd favorite, and you have, like, 2 spiders in the field. Say you just have, like, Elise and, like, a Precious Pet somehow. And then you play Harrowing. This will buff the spiders already on the field. Same with this, so I think Harrowing's just the extra push that deck needs. These aggro decks, one of their Achilles heels or way to beat them is that they run out of steam, but Harrowing just reborns everything and you just kill them. So yeah, that's the deck. Cards I don't play: Elixir, very good though, in and out all the time. Hapless, very good also, in and out all the time. I just think that as a turn 1 card, it doesn't do that much damage. It only does 1 damage, it's not like a huge pressure. Gets you a Spider, which is good. Can be cloggy, could also be really good. So it depends on the meta, I suppose. It's just hard to fit in this deck because I don't want to cut Crawling. I think Crawling's way better. And I don't really want to cut anything else either. But it is nice to have more 1-drops, especially like one that gets you a Spider. This is actually interesting because in aggro decks it's really nice to have the 9 1-drops because that gives you a super consistent early game to deal big pressure. But if it gets blocked, it feels bad. Especially with it used to have to be a 3-2, now it's a 3-1 because it got nerfed. They can block with Omen Hawk on their own Hapless and it's pretty rough. But still consideration. And then I guess like one last card. There's a few cards I guess. Like Sentry, Reckoning Sentry is decent. Stuns, but it's expensive and stats aren't that great for how low the ground this deck is. Like usually you want to be using your mana more efficiently, and stunning's not that great. I mean it's a decent card, but it's not like that much in like an aggro version of this deck. I've never really been a big fan of this too much, but it is viable. Depends. It's good and bad. Yeah, it's probably independent. Fervor. There's so many cards you can consider, like Fervor, Decimate, but I think the finishers are better off here. A lot of times you can't use your spells early game. Something cool is you can use this one on units as well to, like, you know, mix it just a 1/1 spider, have a lot of utility. You turn 1/1 spider into a 3 damage, either Nexus damage or to unit, can dodge lifesteal and stuff like that. Pretty good considerations. But where is it? People probably ask about Brood Awakening. You can use it on Darius, but that's it. That's not that good. I mean, it's very good. That's all it does. If you get that off. Atrocity's not that reliable. But yeah, Brood Awakening. It's really expensive for what this card does. I think the big issue with this card is that you usually already have a field full of spiders, so that, like, by playing this, you don't always even have 3 slots, so you'll be missing out on spiders, and it makes your turns awkward. When this card costed 5, it was, like, insanely good in this deck, but costing 6, it's decent. I haven't actually tried it since I remade this deck. I think I'm going to try this card. It could be really good, but I know back in the day I didn't play it, and again, it can clog. It can be weird if the field's already big and just be awkward at sometimes, but I might try it out. This is consideration for sure.